You affirm to this board.
Recording in progress.
You affirm to tell the truth before this board.
Okay, let the record show that the answer was in the affirmative. IT? IT, we have a typo on the caption here under Mr. Come on. You got the old Ovidio Perez. What do you mean he's not up? Oh, you're not up? Yeah.
A written decision or resolution will be prepared and presented for review to the City Council. The City Council is authorized to affirm with conditions, or override the decisions by resolution. After the resolution is adopted, contact a member of the City Clerk's office to obtain a copy of the final decision and
There
resolution.
you go.
Upon your receipt of the final decision and resolution, contact the building department to obtain your required building permit. Summary minutes or a copy of the audio file, the proceedings before the Planning and Zoning Board shall be prepared and submitted to the City Council before its hearing. The Planning and Zoning Board recommendations for the following public hearing requests will be heard by the City Council at its scheduled meeting of Tuesday, August 9th, 2022. Item number 3. Okay, item number 3 is actually a tabled item from last meeting.
Deborah, are you sure you wanna, are you up?
Okay. I cannot talk, as you can see. Ellis will read my recommendations on the record.
That was my question, because I want you to save your voice. I mean, that golden voice of yours, it needs to be preserved.
Okay, so item number 3 needs to be removed from table.
Okay, so we are going to hear it tonight.
Yes.
Okay, so we need a motion and a second to remove.
Second. Motion, Mr. Rios, second, Mrs. Enriquez. Mr. Ramon?
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez?
Yes.
Mr. D. Perez?
Yes.
Mr. Casanova?
Yes.
Mr. Ulloa? Item has been removed from table. Item number 3. Final decision to allow rear setback of 0 feet where 20 feet are required for the construction of a new two-story single-family home. Property located at 4247 West 7th Lane, Hialeah, zoned R1, one-family district. Applicant, Jesus D. Rivero and Mayra Alvarez Diaz.
Are they present? Okay. Step up to the podium, name and address, please. Yes,
Joel Corbera,
address?
3512 Northwest 16th Street, Miami, Florida, 33125.
And you are the duly representative?
Yes, for the owner.
Okay. She's going to read it into the record, then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
The property in this application is a 0.21 acre lot, zoned R1, located on the east side of West 7th Lane, south of West 43rd Place. The rear of the property faces a lake, Lake Hialeah, that is jointly owned by all properties facing the said lake. The site was improved with a 3,200 square feet home built in 1960 that was recently demolished. The applicants before the city with a proposal to build a new contemporary two-story single-family home with 5 master bedrooms, a large terrace with a pool, and a spa and terrace on the rooftop. Since the property is facing a lake, and according to the survey, there is an open area between the tide line and the lake, the proposal is to build a house up to the tide line, which is also the rear property line, and include all amenities within the footprint. Accordingly, the applicant is requesting an adjustment of the rear setback to 0 feet, where 20 feet are required. The proposed house is nicely designed throughout and brings renewal to the existing 1960s neighborhood. Even though the existing houses around the lake are one-story houses, the proposed 2.5 stories are within the parameters of the maximum allowed height. Future plans include demolishing the adjacent house to the south to create a yard area and accommodate the scale of the proposed structure. Although the rear setback reduction could affect the visibility of the adjacent homes to the north and south that are currently set back at 20 feet from the rear property line and have an open view of the lake, the proposed house brings an upgrade to the area and might inspire others to redevelop in the same fashion. Recommendation, approval.
Thank you. You have the floor.
Pretty much you said everything I needed to say. I don't know what else I need to say.
I have something to say.
Sure.
I want to move there.
Great.
It's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The renderings, if you build it like that,
Yeah, it's
man,
the property has been already reviewed by a private provider and it's been approved.
it's
We're
gorgeous.
just having the setback adjustment.
And again, we're only seeing the outside.
I wanted to ask a question.
This is,
The 20 feet that originally has to be there, 20 feet from what? Is it for another property? For the rear property line, but the rear is a lake.
Well, yes, because the zoning code is general, so this is a specific case, that's why they came for a variance.
Kind of strange to me. So it needed to be originally 20 feet from the lake, or is it a line?
From the property line.
Yes.
Property line.
Can I answer that? Or?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so the rear property line right now shows on the survey as the water line of the lake. But then on the actual survey, there's another property line, which is 35 feet and change. So that is the rear property line of the house. If we were to comply to the rear setback, we'll be robbing another 20 feet from the house, which will give us a total distance from the edge of the water of 50 feet in the rear of the yard.
Okay, but you're bumping into a lake, you're not bumping into somebody else's yard or property.
Only into the lake. But in
Only
this
into
case, we're keeping ourselves distant from the lake at 35.
God forbid it rains a lot one day. You have the lake in your living room.
build it up.
Yeah.
Well, we're above the flood line, so way above the flood
Remember, this is Hialeah.
Yeah.
line.
Okay. Any more comments or questions? Anyone in the audience have a comment or question? Anyone in the electronic audience have a comment or question on this item? Closes part of public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Second that motion?
Motion, Mr. Ulloa, second, Mr. Casanova. Mr. Ramon?
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez?
Yes.
Mr. Ulloa?
Yes.
Mr. G. Perez?
Yes.
Mr. Casanova?
Yes.
Item has been approved.
Can we get more properties to look like that?
I would love it.
I would need more clients, so yeah.
I mean,
My client was bold enough to follow my vision on the property and he was able to.
well, it lends itself to such an eye-catching design because of the waterfront. But, man, I'm jealous.
You should come by and see it when it's done.
Be careful what you wish for.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Might have an alligator in their living room one day, though.
The Planning and Zoning Board recommendations for the following public hearing requests will be heard by the City Council at its scheduled meeting of Tuesday,
Go ahead.
June 28, 2022.
Okay. Do they have to come back for a hearing on the council?
Yes, you do need to come back August 9th at 7
August 9th.
p.m.
Okay. Thank you.
Item number 4, petition to close, vacate, and abandon for public use the western portion of the 12-foot alley running east and west between East 9th Avenue and East 10th Avenue, extending eastward for approximately 507 feet, more or less, from East 9th Avenue, contingent to relocation agreements with the City of Hialeah Public Works, FPL, AT&T, and Comcast. Applicant George L. Navarro, Esquire.
Okay.
Is in Zoom.
George Navarro is in Zoom. Navarro. Navarro.
Mr. Chair, how are you? It's George Navarro.
There
I'm
you
sorry that I could not be there in person. I'm here with my family on vacation, but did want to be here this evening to present this item and address any questions.
Okay, rub it in. Go ahead and rub it in.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Chair.
Name and address, please.
George Navarro with offices at 333 Southeast 2nd Avenue, Miami, Florida. Mr. Chair, it's a project that I think you're intimately familiar with. This is the Metro Park project on East 25th Street. We've been before this board several times. If I can, I'd like to just share quickly my screen.
Okay,
So
George,
this-
give us 1 second.
Sure, go ahead. I think staff,
Let her read her findings, and then we'll
100%.
definitely go through it.
The 12-feet partial alley closing requested in this application is the one that runs west-east on the block surrounded by East 25th Street on the south, East 26th Street on the north, East 9th Avenue on the east, and East 10th Avenue on the west. Both sides of the alley to be closed are owned by the same party, and the purpose of the closure and vacating of the alley is to consolidate the southern and northern portion of the site for the future development of Metro Park, a mixed-use development already approved by the city. The alley will only remain open on the eastern end where it abuts a property owned by a third party. The applicant has agreed with the Public Works Department to relocate the existing water main that runs through the alley as well as the existing FPL lines. All other utilities have sent no objections letters except Comcast, whose letter is pending. Recommendation approval.
Thank you. George?
Mr. Chair, this is the Metro Park project. This board is very supportive of this project. It's a new multifamily residential project near the Tri-Rail station. We came through the process, obtained site plan approval along with a comprehensive plan amendment and rezoning. This particular request before you is to vacate the alley in between the lots that are owned by the developer to come in and allow us to construct the building that was approved. We've obtained the utility consent letters, as was said by staff, and I think this was the last cleanup item that we needed after we obtained your support and the subsequent approval from the City Commission. This is the last approval needed in order to allow us to move forward with construction of the project. So we hope we could have your support so we could go ahead and deliver this great project that I think will really help transform this area in your TOD.
Very good. Just out of curiosity, I do have one question. Given my background in, being a lineman for 35 years, you say you're going to relocate the lines?
Correct. Yes. We are going to relocate the utilities within that alley. We've worked with the utility companies on that, including FPL.
Okay. That alley, it's all aerial. It's all pole lines back there. And obviously your water lines are on the ground. Will you be still retaining on underground utilities in the rear? Or will you be relocating them to the front on street side on 25th and on 26th Street?
So that's a great question. So we're going to be completely vacating all of the utilities within the area that's hatched in yellow, and all of the utilities are going to be relocated to 25th and 26th Street. So that area will remain free and clear of all utilities, including water. I think there's only a water line that goes through there, but all the FPL stuff, and basically the developers committed to improving the water and sewer infrastructure in the area as well as part of their project.
Right.
So that'll be part of that.
On the ground, as far as on the ground is concerned, it should be just an active water main. There was, I'm sure it's abandoned by now. There was an abandoned gas main also. But yeah, and again, I'm sure that the utilities, when it comes time for it, they'll decide whether to go aerial or underground on 25th and 26th Street. But my question to you is, which you have answered, is you will vacate that alley and the utilities will be relocated to front side, correct?
Correct. Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, because I hate for, down the line to keep those lines there and have an issue, and having utility workers come out there and not getting access, or having to tear up a parking lot, or who knows, they'll probably be in the middle of the pool.
Correct. Yeah, we were going through some issues logistically trying to provide the proper clearance, so I think this is a lot cleaner.
Yeah. Okay, those are my questions. Any comments or questions from the board? Anyone in the audience have a comment or question on this item? Anyone in the electronic audience? Okay, closes up all the public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve?
Second?
Motion, Mr. Casanova, second, Mrs. Enriquez. Mr. Ulloa? Mr. Casanova?
Yes.
Mr. D. Perez?
Yes.
Mr. Amo?
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez?
Yes.
Item has been approved.
Thank you, George. Oh, he's gone.
Item number 5, rezoning property from M1 Industrial District to TOD Transit Oriented Development District. And variance permit to allow 1-foot setback on southeast 9th Terrace for a building's corner staircase and allow front setbacks ranging from 12.5 feet to 13.5 feet along Southeast 10th Street, Southeast 9th Terrace, and Southeast 11th Terrace, where 10 feet built to a line are required. Property located at 1001 Southeast 11th Street, Hialeah, zoned M1 Industrial District. Applicant Alejandro J. Arias Esquire.
Thank you. Name and address, please.
Good evening, board members. Alejandro Arias, 71 Brickell Avenue, representing the applicant.
Thank you.
The property in this application is located in the Market Station and includes an entire block bounded by Southeast 11th Street, Southeast 10th Street, and Southeast 9th Terrace, and undeveloped Southeast 10th Court fronting the Hialeah Tri-Rail Market Station. It has an area of 2.03 acres and TOD land use. The applicant is before the city with a proposal to redevelop the site with a mixed-use development in accordance with TOD regulations. The proposal includes a garden-style 3-story building, including 114 units and approximately 4,400 square feet of retail to be located at the southeast corner of the site. The 122-style surface parking lot on the ground floor of the building will have access on Southeast 10th Street and Southeast 9th Terrace, and will be lined by buildings except on the front facing Southeast 9th Terrace, west from of the development. To be able to redevelop the site as proposed, portions of the right-of-way on Southeast 10th Court and Southeast 11th Street will need to be vacated, closed, and abandoned by the city. The proposal at the southeast corner of the site is to create a commercial area with a plaza at the front. This corner improvement will be the anchor for a future Rambla-style plaza planned on the undeveloped portion of Southeast 10th Court that runs south down to Southeast 4th Street, adjacent to the Market Station parking lot. Since parking variances are not allowed in the TOD, the applicant will pay into the parking improvement fund to mitigate the 29 parking spaces that will not be provided on site. The development, to develop the property as proposed, the applicant is requesting rezoning from M1 Industrial District to TOD Transit Oriented Development District, and minor setback variances to allow 1-foot setback on Southeast 9th Terrace for a staircase and allow front setbacks ranging from 12.5 feet to 13.5 feet along Southwest 10th Street, Southeast 10th Street, Southeast 9th Terrace, and Southeast 11th Street, where 10 feet built to line are required. The 1-foot setback for the staircase at the northwest corner of the block may be allowed. However, the frontage along Southeast 9th Terrace, as shown on the render views 12 and 13 of the submittal package, will need to be redesigned by adding decorative walls and features to enclose the parking area. The submitted landscape also needs to be reformulated to incorporate canopy trees and enhance shrubbery. Street furniture and lighting plans were not submitted and shall also be part of the proposal. Since the submittal plans are very conceptual, a thorough design review shall be performed and approved by the design committee prior to formal submittal for concurrency and site plan review. The requested setbacks along Southeast 10th Street, Southeast 9th Terrace, and Southeast 11th Street could be approved since it's minimal deviation from requirements. Recommendation: approval of the zoning of rezoning to TOD and variances with the condition that the proposal needs to be reviewed and approved by the design review committee prior to submittal for concurrency and site plan review.
Thank you. So it's approval with conditions.
Yes.
You have the floor.
Celis is loading the
She's multitasking. She's doing pretty good. And in this heat too.
Yeah, it's really hot.
No,
Oh.
it's a little toasty in here.
Tasty it?
Good evening once again, board members. We're grateful for the opportunity to be here tonight before you and bring forth this exciting transit-oriented development project. This transformational project is another project being proposed by the Prestige Companies, one of the most prominent and longstanding developers in the city. Next slide, please. The approximately 2.03 acre property encompasses an entire city block and is bounded by Southeast 11th Street, Southeast 10th Street, Southeast 9th Terrace, and undeveloped Southeast 10th Court. This site's located just northeast of the Home Depot, located on Southeast 12th Street, and just west of the Hialeah Tri-Rail Market Station. Next slide, please. The property is currently vacant and is the site of a blighted former industrial site. In 2016, the land use on this property was redesignated from industrial to TOD. And as such, this proposed project encompasses a development program that is much more in line with the vision of the city and the current trend of development for this area. The intended purpose of the TOD, Transit-Oriented Development District, is to promote compact, pedestrian-friendly, mixed-use development with appropriate urban design within walking distance of high-capacity rapid transit. And that is exactly what the applicant is proposing for this project. Now, in connection with a brief history of the TOD approval regulations, in 2016, these regulations were created. That spawned a number of speculative entitlements and approvals with the city, but nothing really came to be. There was no development that was activated. Now, as you saw from the project before, you have Metro Park, which is coming online, and this will be just another one of those projects that will serve to activate this area. This is a true development which the developer intends to undertake as soon as possible. Based on its prominent location near the Tri-Rail Market Station, this proposed project will serve, again, to activate this up-and-coming area of the city. And as referenced by Ms. Storch in her favorable recommendation, in order to realize this vision, we're requesting a rezoning of the property from M1 to TOD and certain minor non-use variants. Next slide. With respect to the project before you tonight, the applicant is proposing to redevelop this blighted property with a mixed-use project encompassing a maximum height of 3 stories. The development program contemplates 114 multifamily units and 4,400 square feet of retail to be located at the southeast corner of the property. So that area that's shaded in orange will be where the commercial is located. This retail component at the southeast corner will create a commercial area, but more importantly, it'll create a plaza fronting the project. This corner improvement will be the first step for a future Rambla-style plaza planned on the undeveloped portion of Southeast 10th Court that runs down to Southeast 14th Street, adjacent to the Market Station parking lot. This project has actually been a true collaborative effort with Ms. Storch and the city. This is probably like the 3rd or 4th iteration of the site plan that we've proposed, and we've incorporated a number of her suggestions and design insights to make this great project that you see here. Next slide. The project will also provide sufficient off-street parking spaces to accommodate operational demand. 122 parking spaces are being provided and will also encompass 19 on-street parking spaces along Southeast 11th Court. The applicant will also be paying for 29 parking spaces via the city's Parking Improvement Trust Fund program for this TOD area. Next slide. Ultimately, for the TOD regulations of the city code and its intended purpose, this project will serve to enhance livability and mobility by increasing residential options, enhance the street experience for all modes of transportation, will create a public open space at the southeast corner of the site, and will promote the establishment of businesses oriented to commuters and residents as you have the nearby Tri-Rail station. Next slide. Down there, you can see that Southeast Plaza along with the commercial front. As such, we respectfully request your recommendation of approval and are here to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Comments or questions? Anyone on the board? Comments or questions from the audience? Anyone in the electronic audience have a comment or question? Okay. Close to the part of the public hearing. What is the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve with conditions.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Casanova, second, Mrs. Enriquez. Mr. D. Perez?
Yes.
Mr. Amon?
Yes.
Mr. Casanova?
Yes.
Mr. Ulloa?
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez?
Yes.
Item has been approved with conditions.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Item number 6, special use permit to allow the expansion of the neighborhood business district overlay for the retrofit of an existing commercial building with the proposed addition of 8 residential units on the second floor. Variance permit to allow 30.39 front side setback where 10 feet built to line is required. Allow surface parking facing East 41st Street where surface parking may not be located at the front of the building. And allow 41 parking spaces, 39 on-site and 42 off-site, where 50 parking spaces are required. Property located at 819 East 41st Street, Hialeah Zone C2, Liberal Retail Commercial District. Applicant, RMJL Investments, LLC.
Name and address, please.
My name is Juan Carlos Lago, and the address is 7741 Southwest 122 Avenue, Miami, Florida, 33183.
Thank you. Wasn't this a table item or was this just the
Yes.
one that was removed?
It was removed because we didn't advertise.
So it was just removed
New.
completely. So it's a
Yes.
new item. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
The property in this application is located at the northwest intersection of East 41st Street and East 8th Court. The intersection of East 8th Avenue and East 41st Street is an activity node that extends east almost up to East 9th Court. This is a very active commercial area in dire need of renewal. A new residential development is coming up at 875 East 41st Street, and the subject property is before the city with a renewal proposal too. The property we are considering is a 10,432 square feet commercial building developed in 1974 on a 0.52 acre property. The 2-story building fronts East 41st Street and has a rear parking lot with 37 parking stalls and backup parking on East 41st Street. In accordance with the survey, since the survey was done, the applicant got permits and remodeled the front parking to a parking lot, eliminating the formerly existing backup parking. The applicant is before the city with a renewal proposal that includes adding 8 two-bedroom apartments on the second floor of the building, including the replacement of the backup parking on East 41st Street with a 3-car parking lot and an open space area. To improve the site as proposed, the applicant is requesting a special use permit to allow the expansion of the neighborhood business district regulations. A variance to allow 30.30 feet front setback on East 41st Street where 10 feet built to line are required, and allow surface parking facing East 41st Street where surface parking may not be located at the front of the building. The submittal plans label the second bedroom on 6 of the property units as study rooms. However, dens and study rooms are considered as bedrooms for the purpose of parking calculations. Accordingly, the proposed apartment requires 16 parking spaces plus 4 guest parking spaces, and the 6,000 square feet of commercial uses on the ground floor require 30 parking spaces. The total parking requirements is then 50 parking spaces, from which 20% of the parking spaces required for the commercial uses may be provided on the street, meaning that 2 parking spaces may be provided on the streets and will need to be built in accordance with the streets department's requirements. Given that the site has 39 parking spaces or 41 parking spaces when adding 2 on-street parking spaces, the parking requirement is not met. Therefore, the applicant is requesting a variance to allow 41 parking spaces where 50 parking spaces are required. The proposed building retrofit brings renewal to a very active but outdated area and will hopefully be a catalyst for further renewal. The front setback and front parking variance requests shall be approved since these are existing conditions and the proposal improves them as much as possible by eliminating backup parking and renovating the front setback area. Since mixed-use projects with shared parking reduce parking demands, and the property is located in a commercial area that provides daily needs, shopping, and services within walking distance, the 18% parking reduction will not impact the area and shall be approved. In light of the above recommendations, the special use permit and variances shall be approved.
Thank you.
Like the one before me, obviously, she summarized it excellently. We're excited about, bringing the improvement to this area. It's basically, it's a plus for the city, for the owner, for the area. So we really appreciate the board considering this. And we thank Deborah for giving us the opportunity to come back around and clean up some of the concerns that she had in the last presentation that we did.
You understand the reason, right? There was
Clearly.
there were some little skeletons in the closet that needed to come out, and
Not a
she
problem.
cleaned them all out, and
We're all good.
you got a clean slate now.
Absolutely. So we're really excited about getting the submittal of the plans as soon as we get the zoning.
Good deal. Comments or questions from the board?
Is it gonna be long-term rentals or?
No, regular long-term rent. We're not. There's already a list between the employees of the area and people in the area. Everybody's like lining up, me, I want one. So I know they're gonna be, they're flying, or they will go quick.
Ease a little bit to like the colors almost, no colors to the look.
No. The intent is apartments. We wanted to dress up the front, and we kind of went with that somewhat industrial look. It has some popularity these days with the lattice look. We're gonna have some beams holding the canopy on the perimeter. With the open metal stairwells that has been already preliminarily reviewed with fire department. So, we felt that it was appropriate for the area.
So it's not gonna be used as an Airbnb?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone in the audience have a comment or question? Anyone in the electronic audience? Closest the part of the public hearing was the pleasure of the board.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Casanova, second, Mrs. Enriquez. Mr. D. Perez?
Yes.
Mr. Gamon?
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez?
Yes.
Mr. Ulloa?
Yes.
Mr. Casanova?
Yes.
Item has been approved.
Let me explain you something. All the properties in the NBD require a declaration of restrictions. So you have to get in touch with me and the law department because you need to provide an opinion of title, and we will give you the declaration, and you will need to sign it before the second reading. But the second reading of the ordinance will be in August. So we have plenty of time. If you don't have the opinion of title, start getting it as soon as possible.
Excellent. One more question. If my plans are being finalized, can we still proceed and submit plans for review, or not until the whole zoning?
No, until the whole zoning is approved.
Good to know.
Item number 7, ordinance of the mayor and the city council of the city of Hialeah, Florida, amending chapter 98 entitled zoning, article 5. Zoning district regulations, division 16, C2, liberal retail commercial district of the code of the ordinances of the city of Hialeah. Repealing all ordinances or parts of the ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for severability clause, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date.
And you explain it, you explain.
Basically, it's a decision to try to mitigate the effects of smoking and within certain distances of other shops or more importantly, schools. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
There are too many smoke shops in the city.
Oh,
And
smoke
if-
shop. I thought you meant
yes.
physical smoking and,
And if you look at we prepare radius maps and observe that they are very close to schools. And so if you read the whole ordinance, you will see that there's a big problem with minors starting to smoke early on. So we are trying to limit the location.
I'm sorry, David. What crossed my mind right away was like, like, granted, you can't smoke indoors, you have to go outside, but now that we're going to restrict smoking outside, but no, listen, I take it back. I'm glad you cleared it. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, comments or questions? We can use that as your comment. Right? There you go. Any more comments or questions? Anyone? No one in the audience. Anyone in the electronic audience? All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Sorry.
Okay, motion, Mr. Casanova. Second, Mrs. Enriquez. Mr. Amon?
Yes.
Mr. D. Perez?
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez?
Yes.
Mr. Ulloa? Casanova?
Yes.
Item has been approved. Item number 8, ordinance of the mayor and the city council of the city of Hialeah, Florida, amending chapter 98 entitled zoning, article 5. Zoning district regulations, division 22, M1, industrial district. Section 98-1371 entitled permitted uses of the code of the ordinances of the city of Hialeah. Repealing an ordinance or parts of the ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for a severability clause, providing for penalties for violation hereof, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date.
Basically, this is to allow that alcohol be served on properties that are designated as MBD. You can be on an industrial properties on them one, and you come for the MBD overlay, and so you build a restaurant, and then you cannot serve alcohol. So it is a desirable thing in the MBD to have restaurants. We are making this modification to allow alcohol to be served on M1 properties if they are approved as MBD properties and developed as mixed-use properties.
So it's going to be easier for like restaurants to be able to grow their business and have alcohol served.
In mixed-use projects.
Okay. So I would take that, Mr. Ulloa, as a question or a comment.
Yeah, okay.
No, they. Any more comments or questions?
No.
No one in the audience? Anyone in the electronic audience? All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion, Mr. Ulloa, second, Mr. Amon. Mrs. Enriquez?
Yes.
Mr. Casanova?
Yes.
Mr. Ulloa?
Yes.
Mr. D. Perez?
Yes.
Mr. Amon?
Yes.
Item has been approved. Miscellaneous item not requiring advertising. Item number 9, tentative plat of Tangible Investments for LLC. Okay, comments from the plat committee. The Department of Water and Sewer, provide a water meter for each unit, provide 6-inch minimum sewer lateral for each lot. Sanitary sewer flow goes to PS 04-52 in okay status. Any changes of use require approval from the City of Hialeah Department of Public Work and Durham. Fire Department, no objections. Police Department, no objections. Streets Divisions, no objection. Parks and Recreation, no objections. Planning Unit, no objections, but there is an ordinance 21-049 allowed
Replatting.
the replatting.
The property came already before us to request a variance to allow the replatting into substandard lots, and we allowed it through that ordinance.
The only thing that I see here is that nowhere in your description was mention of the physical address or approximation. It
It's
says
there on
East
the-
11th Street and East 11th Street. Okay, can we read
The
the,
address is,
go to East 11th Street?
yes,
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that it was depicted on the record. Okay, comments or questions? 302 East 11th Street.
No.
And no comments or questions?
No.
All All right, anyone in the electronic audience? There's nobody in the audience here. All right, this is a public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Second.
Motion, Mr. Ulloa, second, Mrs. Enriquez. Mr. Casanova?
Yes.
Mr. D. Perez?
Yes.
Mr. Ulloa? Mrs. Enriquez?
Yes.
Mr. Amon?
Yes.
Item has been approved. Item number 10, tentative plat of 711 Hialeah, Okeechobee, and 18th.
Okeechobee and 18, that's the name of the, that's
That's
an,
where the RVC is. The property will be redeveloped as a 7-Eleven. Yeah.
oh, man.
Kind of sad in a way. I
Yeah,
don't usually
I
eat
like
Arby's,
the-
but
yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, comments from the plat committee. Department of Water and Sewer. Sanitary sewer flow goes to PS 04-107 in okay status. Any changes of use require approval from City of Hialeah Departments of Public Work and DERM. Fire Department, no objections. Police Department, no objections. Streets Division, please amend the T-plat to show the max dedication. Parks and Recreation, no objections. And the Planning Unit, no objections.
So what are they planning to build there?
The
7-Eleven.
7-Eleven, gas
Okay.
station and
Instead
convenience
of
store.
the Arby's, they're gonna,
Yes.
okay. Comments or questions?
I don't know. I think we should start a petition to stop this.
John, I do like Arby's. I don't frequent it that much, but I do.
Or we should request them to include the sandwiches in the menu.
They,
The
see,
meat sandwiches.
you see, Deborah, that's why you're the big cheese here.
Or a little Arby's next to it, like, they have some places, they have the 7-Eleven, the McDonald's. inside
Or
of it,
Dunkin' Donuts or something.
Remember the old 3-in-1?
Yeah.
Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, and
One in
KFC?
Flagler's still, Flagler's still one. Got that 7-Eleven and the Arby's. New one.
There you go, Deborah. Why don't you just put your weight behind it and say, hey, the board is inclined to keep the Arby's
The
spirit.
last Arby's.
There you go. All right. Comments or questions? All right. No, anyone in the audience? Electronic audience? All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve?
With a tear, I will second that motion.
Motion, Mrs. Enriquez, second, Mr. Ulloa.
I would put a condition on it. I would put a condition that they at least talk about it. Okay,
Mr. Amon?
Yes.
Mr. D. Perez?
with a condition, yes.
Mr. Casanova?
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez?
Yes.
Mr. Ulloa?
Why not?
Item has been approved.
Well, the wife is gonna have a fit when I tell her they're getting rid of the Arby's.
Item number 11, old business? No old business. Item number 12, new business.
No new business.
Okay, no new business.
Okay, no new business from anybody.
New business, thank you, Giselle. You were the Wonder Woman today doing everything.
Yeah.
Deborah, I must say, I really enjoyed your background last night. You did pretty good. You had a nice little scarf and everything.
Yeah.
He doesn't want me to let you talk.
No, I wear the scarf because they told me that I will get cured
Yeah.
earlier if you use it.
When are you due?
August 16th.
Oh, you got a little bit. You're gonna be
Good.
with us for a little bit.
I'm good.
Good
I'm
deal
here.
then. All right, that being said, if there's nothing else going, meeting's adjourned.
Remember when the Arby's was on 49th Street? next to the-
Para mí el Arby's también tiene un lugar especial, porque el primer año que vinimos acá, que no gastábamos en un peso en nada,